Julie Reeder with Reader Media and Village News and Valley News, and I am interviewing today Marci Strange.
Correct.
She is with a group called Taxpayers Oversight for Parents and Students, TOPS. And she spoke at the Temecula Valley Unified School Board meeting the other night in support of Dr. Komrosky and against the recall. And she's an interesting person because she is gay and she's also a Democrat, and yet she's supporting Dr. Komrosky. So I thought she would be an interesting interview.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you for having me.
Welcome. So tell us a little bit about you and how you got started with TOPS.
I got started with TOPS when I went to my kids' school board. We had a interesting superintendent that offended a large portion of our parents. So they went there, and it was really big and exciting. And then I found out the deeper I dove into my kids' curriculum, I found it to be very disturbing. There are anti-American sentiments, Marxism, which they called critical race theory, and when parents caught on to that, they changed the name to DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, which is really division, indoctrination, and exclusion, or die.
Oh, okay.
And then when people caught on to that, parents caught on to that, and they switch it. Now the new one is SEL, social emotional learning. It looks great. The description looks like
Sounds
wonderful
good.
that we want. We all want to be loved, welcomed, included. Who doesn't, right? But unfortunately, we're seeing a lot of hypersexualization of kids. Even in kindergarten, they're starting to teach kindergartners how to masturbate, for crying out loud. I mean,
What for?
you know, good question. What for? I think it's almost like a confuse and control. That part I really don't know. The reason I'm here is because Temecula, I feel, is like ground zero for the rest of the school districts in California. I mean, Dr. Komrosky is amazing. You know, he listens to parents. He's fighting the inappropriate materials. This book, Push. He found this book in Chaperone High School library, and it's horrible. And I'm just summarizing, but it depicts a father raping his daughter while the mother stands on the side watching.
Wow.
And you know, of course, she gets pregnant. You know, and kids don't need to see this, and it's very graphic, and it has all kinds of profanity. I mean, it's extremely graphic, and it's not appropriate for kids. I mean, it's a trashy novel. Same thing, the one I spoke with the other night is called Beyond Magenta, where a 6-year-old boy gets passed around like a party favor, giving oral sex to the neighbors and other kids. Why is this in our library? Why? Teachers Union. The Teachers Union is pushing this. They approve it. And when I was at the meeting the other night fighting to get this book out of the library, people, oh, it's First Amendment rights, it should be in there. I am all for First Amendment rights, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But do we want to show, do you take your little kids to an R and X-rated movie? No, of course not. That's First Amendment. So
what do you say to people that are fighting to keep this in the school and just call it banning?
It's not banning, because what they can do, they can order it on Amazon. They can, many times it's in the public library, not the school library. Well, it is in the school libraries, which is what we're trying to remove, but you can find it in normal, public libraries down the street. You can buy it on Amazon. It's not banned. If you couldn't get it in these other areas, it would be banned. It is not banned. It's just very inappropriate. Because like Mr. Komrosky said the other night, once you have kids reading this material, you can't unsee it. You just can't. And you want to keep their innocence as long as possible, because pedophiles prey on kids. You don't want to normalize pedophilia for children because we're seeing rampant child trafficking happening. Here in California is one of the biggest consumers of child trafficking. And so when you're teaching kids that it's okay to, have sex, not good. It's harmful, very, very harmful. And the other mission I'm on is the protectkidsca.com. Gotta go there if you haven't signed the petition yet. And that's trying to protect kids as well by banning, removing puberty blockers, sex change operations for children under 18, no boys in competitive girls' sports or their private spaces, and let's have schools stop keeping secrets from parents. If your child is, believe it or not, if your child is suicidal or they want to change gender or they're having some mental issues, schools don't have to tell the parents. That's wrong. That's really wrong. It's like the teachers union wants to take our kids away from us, and we have to fight for them. If you love your kids, you've got to fight for them.
Yeah, it's not healthy to keep secrets from parents.
Yeah, they do. When a school says to your child, "Don't tell your parents,"
right,
we're in a world of
which we have seen in districts around here.
You know who else did that? Hitler, Chairman Mao, and Stalin. We know what happened there. It was over 130 million.
Families.
Yep, separate the families,
Yeah.
the children from their families and their parents.
Yeah, you can trust us more than you can trust your family.
Nobody is the best advocate for their children than the parents are. And the bad parents, of course, there's bad parents out there. That's what we have Child Protective Services for. But most parents love their kids and they'll do anything for them. We need parents to step up right now.
So Marci, as a gay woman in a marriage yourself, how do you differentiate between, because there's a lot of gay people I know that are against what's going on in the schools right now.
Absolutely.
So talk about that for a minute.
Well, we're really upset because
you used to be part of Gays
Against Groomers.
Gays Against Groomers.
Yes, and it's a wonderful organization. Yeah. In fact, they have been instrumental in banning puberty blockers and sex change operations for children in 24 states in this country alone.
Wow.
But California, we taxpayers, everybody's a taxpayer. If you go down to 7-Eleven and buy a slushie, you're paying tax on it, right?
Right.
We're all taxpayers, and that money goes towards these harming children, and these smutty books, these trashy novels that are in our kids' school district. We taxpayers are funding this. Most people don't realize that, but that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
And as far as the gay community, most of us are so. Being gay is not something you want to go around, waving a flag and bragging about. How about serving other people? I don't want to be known for being gay. I want to be known for helping kids, helping parents, fighting for our rights. That's what I want to be known for. Yeah. Not who I go to bed with. Right. That's very private to me, as it should be.
Right, but it seems that's the topic that people want to talk about more and more, even at school.
I think it's wrong.
We're supposed to be learning how to read and write and compete with the rest of the world.
Exactly.
And I don't think that they're having these issues in China or India or
no, they don't.
Other countries that we need to compete with.
You're right, Julie.
So we're all distracted and concentrating on, the way we feel about things and contemplating if we're a boy or a girl. Rather than
and that's the whole purpose of TOPS, Taxpayers Oversight, for parents and students. We want to focus on to keep academics in the classroom and politics and ideologies out. That does not belong in our. Now you go to college, that's fine, if that's what you want to take, but not. Teaching kindergartners, how to pleasure themselves, and it just. Some of these books, there's another one, this book is gay. It tells kids, we're talking to, it's directed to kids to put objects up their anus. Can you imagine going to emergency and I can't get it out? And then they also teach them how to post your photo online to meet other gays in your community, that's a pedophile's paradise.
Yeah.
Trevor Project
Yeah.
is they literally, you can go to the website and it'll show, 13 to 24-year-old people can all talk about their gender and sexuality. I mean, there again, we're putting our kids in a lot of harm.
Yeah.
And parents, what can parents do? They need to look at what their kids are watching on their devices, look at the school curriculums in the beginning of the year and throughout the year. I've seen it change dramatically. Looks great to begin with, and nothing to worry about. Close the book. No, keep an eye on it, because you will see some anti-American sentiments, pro-BLM. I've seen it in my kids' classrooms. Do what other kids have done. Okay, talk to your parents first with any concerns. Say, if you know that this is not material that your parents would approve of. Parents, listen to your kid and trust them. Okay, this is what's going on in our schools today.
Yeah.
And then share your concerns first with the teacher and the principal. And if that doesn't work, sometimes they don't even bother answering you. Then you escalate to the board. And if that doesn't work, talk to Taxpayers Oversight for parents and students, because we have advocates that will help transfer your child from one, say, a real progressive, woke teacher, and I call them activists. That's exactly what they are. From an activist teacher to a traditional teacher in the same district, okay? Because that way, you don't have to take them to another school, private school, homeschooling. Try to keep them in the same district, because it does two things. One, it creates an administrative nightmare, which I love to do. And two, it sends a strong message. Parents are not going to let you sexualize their children or feed them these radical Marxist ideals.
Yeah.
No, can't have that. And that's what parents have to do. That's your job. Because otherwise, Janie can turn into Johnny in the 3rd grade without your knowledge, by the way. And then all of a sudden, you're like, wait, what? No. Well, then they, according to AB 665, that parent enemy number 1 by a man by the name of Scott Wiener passed, along with Newsom, that if a parent isn't sure or doesn't gender affirm their children, well, then they call Child Protective Services, take them away from your home into a foster home that will take them to get their puberty
or a
blockers.
group home.
Yep, or a group home. And they're taking our kids away, literally. I've known personally 2 families this has happened to over the last couple of years. It's not a conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
It's, look it up. He fights for the kids. Parents come to him and say, hey, this is happening, and he fights for the kids. Where the teachers union say, oh no, that should be there. The other night, it just blew me away how it's First Amendment. We may not agree with it, but it's First Amendment, and it's approved by the California Board of Education. I don't care. I'm not going to subject kids to this craziness. No. Let's stick to academics. How about reading, writing, and math? Because test scores are abysmal all across the state and the country. It's not just happening here in California, it's across the country. Make no mistake. We need to focus on academics. Otherwise, bridges are going to fall. Millions will be lost. We can't downplay our educational system for the sake of equity. If kids need help, let's give them help. The lowest and the highest.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you.
Well, thank you for having me.